I have been carrying this for a while now. I do not even know why I am writing this long overdue confession. Maybe I just need to get it out of my head before it eats me alive. One night, while I was walking home, I chose a very bright part of the community to avoid any kind of altercation. That was when I noticed a man who seemed to be stalking a kid. I knew something was wrong because the man stood about 5 feet behind the child all the time and did not move for a while. I stopped and bought some street food, just to observe them. When they began walking again and were about to leave, my sight, I followed. That was when I saw the man press a shard of glass to the nape of the kid. The kid fell hard on the wet ground, and the man simply walked away, licking his fingers as if nothing happened. I walked toward the kid and pulled out the shard of glass, not out of kindness, but out of curiosity. The shard was buried so deep in the nape that I had to pull it out with one hand while pushing the head away with the other. Blood splattered onto my face and lips, the metallic taste cold against my barren lips. Driven by adrenaline, I smashed the shard against the pavement and hid. I waited for someone else to discover the body. I stayed hidden until the police arrived and watched as they placed the body into a bag. 2 hours later, I finally went home. All I could smell was the blood on my hands. It was a mixture of the kid's blood and my own, from the small cut I got when I pulled the shard out. I did not wash my hands for days. When I finally did, all I could think about was how that blood had mixed, and the strange rush that came from seeing the act, knowing who did it, and watching everyone else wonder without knowing what I knew. It gave me a sense of control I had never felt before. After that, I began taking night walks through cities and shadowed alleys, always careful, always watchful. A restless itch nagged me. The need to see that grotesque spectacle of human depravity once more. Even the thought of it sent a cold, electric thrill through me. Chilling, but energizing nonetheless. I kept a knife and pepper spray in my pocket, not because I planned to be a hero, but in case my own darkness turned on me. Months after, I witnessed a robbery. A group broke into a closed store, prying the gates open. I watched from the shadows as they looted everything inside. Then, one of them accidentally dropped a gas can near their car. When a bystander passed by and dropped a cigarette near the spilled fuel, the gas ignited. Within seconds, the store was on fire, trapping the robbers inside. I did not call for help. I just watched. Later, when the police arrived, they found no CCTV cameras nearby. I realized that once again, I was the only witness who knew the full story. It felt strange to think that two of the most gruesome things I had ever seen would remain unexplained forever, and I was the only one who could tell the truth. Several months passed, and I saw another crime. I saw a man break into a car, clearly trying to steal it. For a change, I decided to get involved. I approached a group of teenagers nearby and offered them money to beat the man up. I gave them some discarded syringes I had found near a hospital dumpster. They took everything without question. When they caught the burglar, they tore into him. His face was left unrecognizable, full of holes from the syringes they'd driven into his skin. Some was still sticking out of his neck and ears when it was over. I walked toward the car afterward and saw an ID hanging from the rearview mirror. That man wasn't a thief, as he owned the car. Panic hit me. I yanked the syringes out and stuffed them into the cart of a sleeping beggar nearby, then slipped away before anyone could see me. That crime was never reported either. In a year, I had already seen 3 deaths that no one could explain except me. It became like a secret I could never share, and I relished on every bit of it. Almost half a year later, after the last crime I indulged myself into, I saw the butcheress from the local market where I used to buy meat. She was walking home late at night, just in time, while I also took my grisly nightly escapade when 2 kids tried to steal her bag. I wanted to help her, but I froze. I hid and watched. It started raining. The woman, though, slipped, her bag fell, and the 2 kids tried to grab it and run. They both slipped, too. One of them fell onto the butcher's knife sticking out of the bag. The other hit the ground hard and did not move again. Out of shock, I vomited. I wanted to run, but I couldn't move. When I looked again, the butcheress was standing. She began cutting the bodies apart. My heart sank. My teeth clenched. I cried quietly as the rain mixed with my tears. I peeked one last time and saw her doing something I can hardly describe without feeling sick. She plucked an eye from the child whose head had fallen onto her butcher knife and squeezed it above her mouth. Then she pulled the knife from the head and sliced open the child's stomach with the same precision I'd always seen when she cut hanging meat at the wet market. She then took out the intestines and smelled them. Holding them in one hand, she reached for the knife and stabbed it into the other child's neck, slicing harshly. Then she grabbed the head and stuffed the intestines inside the gash. I watched her chew on strands of hair from the severed head, choking on them from time to time. And that's when I knew I had to get out of there. I ran away that night and packed my things the next day. Only a missing persons report about the 2 kids ever reached me. No successful investigation, no suspect, no trace. It seemed like the rain had washed everything away, as if the heavens themselves had hidden what she did. Now I work a normal 9-to-5 job in a city far from where all that happened. But not a night goes by without me curling into myself, haunted by guilt. Everything feels unreal, like scenes from a movie that only a deprived mind would even think of putting in paper and camera. Sometimes I wonder what was real and what wasn't, and I think about this every time. What is the point of telling my story if no one would believe it? Maybe people will call it fiction, or a creepy post, or a lie for attention. But every death I saw, every secret I kept, and every scream that never left my throat is real. And they all stalk me, like how I stalked them without remorse.